Hi, welcome to another edition of TFT Hyperroll, where I play some games, show them to you, and hope maybe you can become a better player as a result. This one started with the Leona with a Negatron cloak, and I was quickly able to get her up to silver. When given the choice, I wanted to start grabbing Vel items, so I grabbed the needlessly large rod, but as soon as I saw a Varus, I knew there was the opportunity to put a Rage Blade on Varus. So at first I go through and decide I'm going to do Knights and Varus in the background to start with until I get a Syndra. Now I have my 3 redeemed, I can slam the Rage Blade on Varus, and I feel like I'm off to a really good start. I have a tanky frontliner in Leona, and then Syndra will just throw anything away that comes too close to me. Varus is going to pick up speed throughout the match, thereby doing his ult more often, giving Leona more power. You can see the early game is fairly easy to get through. Any chance to pick up a redeemed, I am doing it. Grabbing the Aatrox where I can, and even though Varus can get stunned sitting in the corner, Leona is there to fling the competition away. Again, still thinking about Vel'Koz, I'm grabbing a needlessly large rod where I see one, because that's ultimately what you're building for if you're going for redeemed. At this point, I could have put out the silver Aatrox, however, I felt it was better to pick up the Knight buff right here, and at least have that across the entire team. I also put the Gargoyle Stoneplate on Leona to make her a little bit more tanky, so she can stand in there while Varus continues to hit and ult things. You can see that that combination does really work early on, as it allows Leona to stand there longer, especially with the Knight buff, and with Varus able to ult more and more often, it keeps Leona strong, and of course, Syndra's there to just throw anything away that gets in it. I debated here between Gargoyle Stoneplate and Dragon's Claw. My general philosophy, however, is to spread out my defense as much as possible, so I grabbed the Dragon's Claw to protect her from magic damage, with the thought of maybe getting a Bramble Vest down the line. Here I get super lucky, and I get a Lux and a Karma. Karma's pretty awesome in her own right, but makes an excellent item holder for Vel'Koz. So next round when I can put her out, I'll put her out, use her as the item holder, and also trigger the Invoker buff. Here's a Kalista who just doesn't want to quit and is killing my team, and luckily I have Syndra here to just fling her across the screen when I need to. We silver up our Syndra, put out our Karma, and start building the Vel'Koz items onto Karma, because she, again, makes just an excellent item holder for Vel'Koz. We got a tier off the NPC, so grabbing a BF sword is a no-brainer to make the Spear of Sojin, again, an absolutely awesome Vel'Koz item. If I was doing a build based around Karma, I'd rather have a blue buff, but a Spear of Sojin will work well. However, almost immediately as I build my items, I get the Vel'Koz that I didn't expect to get for another round or two. And so it is time to bring this up, get the items on Vel'Koz, replace our Poppy with an Aatrox, and now we have 6 redeemed with Vel'Koz. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting, and isn't normally how I would play it. However, Karma did serve the purpose of at least creating items for a moment. I just didn't expect to get that lucky to pick up a Vel'Koz this soon in this match. I figured it would be a round or two before I saw a Vel'Koz, and so I thought I was playing it smart. But luck changes, and you gotta move with the change. The item shop isn't super friendly here, so I grabbed the Negatron cloak as probably the best item of the batch. And now I'm just holding gold so that I can roll for more Vel'Kozes when I have a higher chance of getting 4s. As you can see, everything's really kind of coming together at this point, as Syndra is throwing things out of the way when necessary, and Lux is keeping the team shielded when things get too close. All in all, it's a pretty nice trade-off and seems to be going quite well. Replacing Poppy with Taric is an easy call because you get to keep the Knight buff, but now you get a little additional healing for people who are around Taric when he ults. Further, grabbing Rel is going to be another no-brainer. It will shore up the front line and make the team that much stronger. We pull Aatrox off the board for now, but still hold him on the bench just in case there's a need for him later. We don't need a Pantheon since he doesn't fit into our build at all, but now there's a Karma, so we pick her up and start thinking about adding her in to recreate that Invoker buff. Here you can see why the 2-star Vel'Koz is so important to this team. He's able to reach all the way across the board and trigger the Guardian Angel on the character that they hope to be their carry, ultimately eliminating them. Our tanky frontline is able to hold back them from advancing on us, and the last is the Ghost Thresh trying to pull our Lux in. Here, grabbing the Shadow tier because it gives us the ability to make the very dark blue buff, which will work absolutely wonderfully on Karma when it's time to put her in. And I have to be honest and say that as this particular fight progressed, I thought I might be looking down the barrel of an absolutely perfect game, because I know coming up next is going to be adding in a Karma with a dark blue buff, which is also going to trigger the Invoker buff, which is going to give the entire team more mana throughout the game. So I don't see another way that a team stops me at this point with this type of build being put together. Another Karma, and I'm one away from silver, and there she is just waiting to go in before the next round. I have the silver Karma set up and the silver Rel set up. So in all reality, at this moment, I am thinking there's no way anyone is stopping me. This is the team earlier where our Syndra just ended up throwing their Callista at the last moment, and with Vel'Koz just eliminating Teemo, I'm pretty sure it's done, except for one small problem. This time Syndra can't quite get her off the ground. So we have to go into the next round wondering what just happened. But okay, it's fine. We've 2-starred the Karma, we've 2-starred the Rel, we're all set. We have the Invoker buff, we have everything exactly where we want, and we're facing off against a team that we really should be able to beat. This is an Ironclad based team, and although they have a really well itemized Jax, they're protected mostly against physical damage, and our damage is coming, for the most part, from Vel'Koz and Karma. However, they get in on us and stun them, and Lux is taken down, which gives them absolute free reign into our backline, and very quickly, what seemed like a perfect game has turned around. The NPC round is very good to us as we get a Jeweled Gauntlet, which is the perfect third item for Vel'Koz. Here, it's kind of a tough decision. We get an Ashe. Putting in Ashe will trigger 2 buffs, the Verdant buff, which will keep us from getting CC'd for an amount of time in the front line and the back line, and will also trigger the Ranger buff, increasing her attack speed and Varys' attack speed throughout the match, every 4 seconds actually. So I think this might be a good combination to help shore up what I thought was a sure thing. I see the Kaels but decide to pass on them. And my thinking was I didn't want to lose the Ranger buff at that point. Kael would have substituted in for Varys, which would have kept us the Verdant buff. However, we would have lost the ability to do the Ranger buff. As you can see, that match didn't turn out too well. However, I'm kind of committed into this now, as we missed our opportunity to get Kael. Those Varys items would have been absolutely awesome on Kael, but I would have lost the Ranger buff. Right now I'm questioning whether I just ruined what seemed like was the absolute perfect game. It was the CC from that one round that took out my team that made me decide I needed to go Verdant. I then got laser focused on having 2 buffs instead of 1. Simply getting Kael wouldn't have given me the speed ups, and I was thinking at that point that Ashe wouldn't stun as often. Luckily at this point I held on until the end. Now this team I noticed was stacked all the way to the left. However, what I did is I kept my tank side all the way to the left and moved my damage to the right. And I meant to pull my Syndra over, but it didn't happen in time. Without that mistake, I may have lost, and let me show you why. Viego is locked onto my Karma, and if I lose her, I'm probably going to lose. However, at the same time, Syndra grabs their Warwick, flings him across the board, who for some reason takes Rel with him. They land on Viego, killing him, putting him right in Vel'Koz's beam and saving the day, and making this an otherwise easy fight. I'm honestly not sure how this would have worked out if I had managed to move Karma, but luckily I made a, quote, mistake, and it led to victory. It's luck. Hope you have an awesome day.